Okay. Hi, guys, and welcome to the Alternative Movement Podcast. My name's Craig. I'm your host today, and this is a place where we talk all things adaptive training. So today we've got our first guest, Josh Williams. Josh, welcome.
Hey.
How you doing, buddy? You okay?
Good.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Glad to be your first.
Fantastic. Cool. Cool. Okay. So, this is our first podcast today we're doing. Ultimately, what we're looking at doing with these podcasts is talking to different individuals with different conditions, different disabilities, and talking to them about their life, what they've done up until this point, and the types of training they're doing and types of adaptive training and workouts they've been doing. Josh, we're just going to find out a little bit about you and dig a little bit deeper into who you are and what you're about.
Yeah.
So my first question to you really, Josh, is tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me your story up until this point.
Yeah, man. So basically, Josh from North Wales. I live in quite a small town. So as you can imagine, growing up, I was quite well known for not sort of being the only disabled person there, but I've always been brought up to get out and do things. I've always been that determined sort of profile person. So through the years, I've just become well known in a way, because I've never let my disability get in the way. Gone through mainstream schools. It was mad growing up because sort of you think being disabled in a small town kind of wouldn't fit in. But I done quite the opposite. I went to school, my first school, made friends instantly. I went to primary, same again, made friends straight away. It's a bit weird, because obviously I was different to everyone else. So it may have seemed like it took longer to fit in, but it was a breeze.
So could you tell us a little bit about your condition, please, Josh?
My condition is quite rare. I'm not quite sure on the statistics, but I'm 24 years of age, and I've met one person with the exact same condition.
Wow.
So that goes to show. There's many different variants. So my condition is called Athrogryposis, which means I've got fixed joints down to my fingers, my knees. Any joint you can think is fixed.
So very, very limited range of motion.
Yeah. I can walk, but I'm in a crouched position. So it's as if I walk like I'm squatting. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But from that, I'm deaf in both ears. As you can tell, my voice is different because I've got a shortened neck. I've got, sorry, 1 second.
That's okay. I've had to do a similar thing. I've locked all my my animals out because they was coming and pestering me as well. That's fine.
But now, I'm deaf because the bones in my ears, they don't oscillate, which is also part of the condition.
So do you have a cochlear implant?
No, I actually have a normal in-ear hearing aid.
Okay.
Because the nerve endings all work as normal. Everything else works. It's just them tiny bones that don't vibrate. And I've got scoliosis, double.
Okay.
That has an effect on my internal organs. So my lungs are not formed completely because my ribs are pressing against the lungs.
They've not allowed correct expansion of the lungs.
So I've got some form of asthma in a way, but it's not asthma. They don't know what it is. So, yeah, it's just affected quite a lot of things. Club feet, got webbing, the skin. Pretty much anything to do with my body structure is affected. Yeah, so I've had that since birth. It's a genetic problem. None of my family have this. I think it's just a one-off.
So it's not hereditary.
No, not from what we can gather.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if it's quite a rare condition, it's probably not something that's had much testing into it, I guess.
No, I think it's 1 in every 10,000 babies has my condition.
Wow.
But then 1 in every 10,000 of them babies get my severity. So it's crazy numbers.
Well, I mean, from what the conversations we've had prior to this podcast is, you've not let this get you down. You've not let this stop you in any way.
No.
Yeah, if you want to tell us a little bit about some of the stuff you've done.
A lot of that come from like my parent, my mum. She's done a lot of it herself. She was a single parent when I was born, up till I was about 4 years old. And she was quite young herself. So a lot of my determination comes from my mum and my grandma. So my hands were closed as a baby, and they used to lie me on the floor and make me flick like little plastic ball things and see how far I could like get them and stuff like that. And my mum's always pushed me to be determined and never let it get in my way. So all through my years, if I ever met an obstacle, a physical obstacle, my mum has always either told me not to give up or find a way around it. So that's how kind of made me who I am.
Wow. That's really cool. It's always good to have that someone that's inspirational in your life. And obviously that person was your mum and your grandma.
She was, yeah. Through my life as well, like I've met different people, friends. They've all pushed me. My partner, right now, she pushes. So I've never really had someone to wrap me up in bubble wrap, which has toughened me up and sort of pushed me to do everything I want. If I could, and if I couldn't, I'll find a way around it.
Yeah, you'll adapt.
Yeah. And it's good because, like, at the minute, I'm adapting to different things in life. Again, still at 24 years of age. And if I could, I'm doing it because I want to help people, whether it's something stupid or something massive. If I'm helping, it helps me push. So
That's it. So you also mentioned about you played rugby as well. Or you play rugby?
Yeah, I play rugby.
Fantastic.
I've done all kinds of sports. So it come from when I was younger. I'd done squash. I think I was like 9, 10 years old. I tried squash, and then I done.
It's a tough game, squash. Very tough game.
It was cool.
It's surprising, isn't it? It doesn't look that hard, but you actually play it and you realise how brutal it can be. You're sort of throwing yourself in the squash court, and it's definitely a good cardio workout for sure.
It's really, really full of cardio. And then obviously I met many challenges with that because I can't run. So I was having to like sort of not give up, but it was getting too much. So then I got involved with horse riding.
Oh wow, okay.
That I loved. Like my family are farmers, so I've been around horses most of my life. So horse riding is something I love.
Mm.
And I got scouted for like trials for GP, but the youth GP.
Wow.
And I was too young for all that. Too young. Maybe now I wouldn't think twice about it. But I just wanted to be a kid.
Mm.
And it was something I don't regret not doing. But, you know, it's something I would do now if I had the chance.
If you had the opportunity.
But yeah, I could have gone to 2012 as a horse rider.
That would have been amazing. Well, you say it's never too late. You never know when an opportunity might come up again. Could happen at any point, and I'm sure you'd probably grab it with both hands.
That's it. But yeah, after that, I focused a bit on school, did a lot of football in my K-Walker with my friends on the front. And then one day, obviously I was on Facebook and I got a message of a lad that had the same condition and the same problems as me, saying like there was an open event close to me for wheelchair rugby. So I was like, oh, right, okay. Went to check it out. And ever since then, I've never looked back.
That's amazing. And I think that's the beauty of social media as well. It's putting people like this in connection, like someone that you thought you was a one in a million, like you're a rare case and there's no one else like you. And to have someone contact you online, like, that's amazing.
I was 14 years of age, and I thought it was only me, like, with my condition. So that sort of changed everything for me. And then I ended up going to this open event in Chester, which was like 20 minutes away from me. And I met my friend Miles Pearson, who was getting ready for the Paralympics himself, which was cool. So it got me involved, and then I was too young at the time to play actual murder ball because of health and safety.
Oh, absolutely. I'd imagine. Oh, judging by the name Murder Ball, you know, it doesn't sound like the safest game in the world, but you know.
Well, that's it. So I kind of trained for about a year, and then I got to change things around so I could actually play, which I could. And I really enjoyed it. And then about 12 months later, I get trials for Team GB, but the development side to all of it. So I went for it, got selected, and from then I just grafted, been to Poland, Prague, all major European tournaments with the development squad. And then that sort of set me up for life. So obviously when I turned 18, things went sour and I stopped playing for a short while. Which I'm gutted about because I missed out on Team GB trials. But it happens. You're not going to win everything. You're not going to get everything.
No, exactly.
But now, like, I learned from that. Went away, sorted myself out, got back into the gym, and that sort of put me on path. So now I'm looking to get, obviously, Tokyo, post-Tokyo, see where I can get for Paris, or maybe just after. So that's my sort of goal.
That's your goal for the next few years, to work towards that. That's awesome. Yeah, as I say, that's probably put you in a better position now because you say that you don't regret, and I would never regret any decision you've made. You made it for a reason at the time, and that decision not to continue was probably right for you at that point, and it's probably put you in a stronger mindset today because of that. And you sort of answered my next question, was what was sort of got you into training, and obviously you said about your grandma and your mum, and that was it. You started training probably from quite an early age, probably younger than most of us do, because you've had to do these physical therapy style sessions from very early on.
That's it. I think that, like, it sounds weird, but my disability set me up to become an athlete.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Like, what would normally limit someone has given me the ability.
It's giving you that opportunity.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people don't always take them opportunities because, I don't know, maybe where you have got that potential barrier, you've always had to try a little bit harder than anyone else. And it's made you more determined, it's made you more hungry and passionate for your goals and to achieve them.
That's it. And like I've always said, if it weren't for my disability, I still probably would be some form of athlete, but I wouldn't be half the person I am today.
No.
If it weren't for my disability. And like, people don't realise the lessons you learn being disabled. Like, you don't take things for granted.
No, the world is a very, very different place. I mean, from our point of view, I mean, I work with a lot of guys with various conditions, and just talking to them alone, it's very eye-opening some of the troubles they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Whether that's down to, I know one of my clients said the other day, he was joking around, he was like, it's raining outside, he had his umbrella and he's in a wheelchair. And he said, right, what do I do now? And obviously, I've never really thought of that. And it's like, oh my God, like, how do you hold an umbrella and use a wheelchair at the same time? And it's little things like that. And tackling doors. How do you tackle a door? And the way sometimes people perceive you as well. I've noticed it. I always try and make a very big habit of if I have a new client joining me and potentially their parent or their carer would bring them along to talk to the client, because a lot of the times people talk through someone else to you, and it's like, this person is a person, they can communicate. Just because they're in a wheelchair, it doesn't mean they're unable to interact.
That's a massive problem with like things these days. People think like, because someone's disabled, you can't talk to them about what their needs are. Like, I get you've got professionals who probably know what you need, but sometimes you miss things. Like, I'm severely like independent, so I couldn't have a carer. I don't want one, but I feel like if I was still a carer, I wouldn't do things for myself. The things that maybe I don't enjoy doing, but the things that put me the way I am, like, make me determined.
Yeah, it's that independence you want, and you don't always want to feel like you have to rely on someone else.
Yeah, and even though they're massive limitations, I probably could do with a carer to do that, but taking away that would take away my determination to be as normal as I can.
Absolutely.
And I think that sometimes it gets mixed up with some carers. Like, I get they're doing us a favour, but sometimes it takes away.
Sometimes the help can be a hindrance at the same time, because it's almost like, rather than in the small tasks, it might be the case of getting something from the other side of the room. Like, where, it might be a little bit challenging to do this task, but if you don't do it, ultimately you're going to find regression within your condition, because you're not moving, you're not keeping strong, you're not keeping active, because someone else is doing, even though it seemed very small, in the long term, that 1% help they give you every time builds up. And for sure, completely.
Like, for me, I can walk, but not brilliant. So I walk like I said before, I walk like I crouch, like I'm squatting. little things for me is when I walk, I'm in a lot of pain,
Mm-hmm.
but my pain will never get worse, but it'll never get better.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, little things like putting the fuel in the car.
Because you drive as well. You drive,
Yeah.
so, which is something people may not quite understand. If you do
No.
use a wheelchair, you can drive.
Yeah, and like, again, I'll go on to that, but there's a lot of confusion when I drive. You see a lot of people confused when they see me get out of the car,
Mm-hmm.
thinking like he's disabled. Why is he in a car? But yeah, like driving and putting fuel in the car or popping into the shop to get a drink. If I can, I will. If I can't, I'll get the wheelchair out. It's finding balance. Like, I've accepted I'm always going to be in pain,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm always going to be able to walk if I carry on walking. Whereas if I stop walking, the pain will be there and I won't be able to walk because my legs would have got weaker. That's sort of a thing for me. I could get a carer. My partner could do those things for me to make my life easier. But I know if she was to do that all the time, I'll lose the ability to walk.
Yeah.
Because my legs would have got used to doing nothing.
Yeah, they lose strength. Same as anyone else. If I was to stop training or exercising, I would lose strength. I would lose strength in my legs, and fortunately, I don't have any conditions which would make that worse. But if I was to, then that may impede my ability to walk. And but for yourself, obviously, that would mess you up a lot more because of the underlying conditions as well. Wow, yeah, it's these little things that we don't really think of. That you have to tackle on a daily basis. So what is something that people often misunderstand about yourself, would you say?
There's so many things people misunderstand. Like, one of the main things is, like, at the minute, I've got a partner, 2 kids. Now, if we're out and about, people don't see us as a family. They probably think, like, she's my sister or my carer and stuff like that. And it's frustrating because a lot of people think, have you got a partner? Like, we're disabled. We're not, like, we're not something just there. We've got feelings. We're normal people. We just look different. So we feel the same. And some people don't see the disability. So that's something that people misunderstand. Like, they might not think that I could have children or be a parent because I'm in a wheelchair, unable to do normal things a parent would be able to potentially do, like carry a child or chain a nappy. So stuff like that. People might misunderstand.
And do you find yourself ever becoming angry at that fact that people have misunderstood this about yourself, or are you quite understanding that it's not necessarily people being horrible or judging you, but maybe just a little bit of just misunderstanding or a bit of naivety?
I get frustrated. I wouldn't say I quite get angry, but I get frustrated because it is really, really frustrating. But
I suppose you tackle the same sort of questions quite regularly in regards to that.
But I've always said I'd rather people ask than wonder. So if you're gonna think that I can't have a girlfriend or I can't do something like driving again, if you're gonna sit there and wonder and then say things without asking, then yeah, I'll get angry or I'll get disappointed or frustrated. If you're going to sit there and ask, then that's one less person who's not educated to, yeah, we're disabled, but we can do these things. Another thing is, like, I'm quite educated, so I got A's, B's and C's, GCSEs, and I went on to do further education. I've done business studies and engineering, and now I'm still learning to do things like personal training and stuff. And when I
Of course,
told,
because you told me as well that you're doing your personal training course, which is amazing.
yeah, that's part of like a massive thing that I want to do in life at the minute. So I want to help, like you are, disabled people and normal people understand people like myself, with all these misunderstandings in life.
And I think it's very much needed, because throughout my years and my research, there's nothing really out there mainstream for folks with disabilities.
That's it. I mean, you've got the Paralympics,
Of course,
or the Commonwealths, but that's it. That is it. There's nothing else.
There's very limited sort of like clubs. I mean, I know of one club in my area which do frame football, which I've had a couple of clients that I train from there, and I go and watch them play occasionally as well. But other than that, I don't really know any. I mean, there is activity centres and stuff, but nothing really sports related or exercise fitness related as such, in regards to like strength training, which I feel is like a massive aspect that needs to be addressed.
When you find someone that's like predominantly for disabled people, it's either, no offense to them, but it's either pussyfooting around them and taking their money, or it's expensive. Like it's the thing with disabled stuff, because not many people can provide it. They take advantage of the marketing. So a lot of people think if you're disabled, government pays for everything. Initially, they do, but they don't. You're not loaded being disabled. You're not well off. You get your car paid for, but that's a deduction of your monthly payments. And I'm not saying it's bad, because there are a lot of perks being disabled. But when you've got people taking advantage of needs because they can, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's stupid.
It's not right. And I've found, as you rightly said, there is a lot of advantages financially through government in regards to if you have a disability. But at the same time, I've found that they don't always funnel that fund into the right avenues. Whereas I've seen through the work I do with the guys I work with, a lot more beneficial than necessarily having that funds going towards potentially a carer for the day or for 8 hours a day, which they're just paid to sort of sit with them. And once again, it's not discrediting any work that any carers do. But if you can improve the quality of life, potentially through strength training with an individual, and it alleviates the pressure with them, it alleviates pressure with their families, their parents, their carers. Ultimately, that's going to save money in the long run for the government. And I feel like that's where I've wanted to come in, and I've really wanted to start to find my place within this industry, and that's to provide that service that's that's going to help people long term, as opposed to that short term. I don't want to use the term babysitting service, but I feel like sometimes it can almost be that babysitting service with some.
And like that's sort of not my goal, but it is. Essentially, I want to work within the community to begin with, which will sort of not boost everything, but I want to work with the council to get things in place for people with all abilities.
Yeah.
And like what I've noticed, a lot of gyms, they don't essentially accommodate for disabled people in a weird way. So like there's a couple of machines you can use, but I found some of the machines, if you're too small, too short, or you've not got the ability to, got the ability to move freely, then it's you can't get on it. You can't do stuff like that. So at first I want to work and get like a wheelchair-based fitness and strength and conditioning or whatever class or help. Like sort of like circuit training based, not equipment, but that sort of area where if you're in a wheelchair, then you don't have to worry about having to move or not be able to reach or
because you can do it all from your wheelchair.
Yes, and from that I want to then work towards having my own, not anytime soon, but I want to open my own gym that's simply for adaptive training. And that's my sort of goal for what I want to do. Because I know if I was to have a gym, not excluding normal people, but targeting people with difficulties or differences, they could come and feel comfortable.
Yeah.
They can
so potentially not, obviously not excluding people, but being, as you said, more specific to that demographic.
Yeah.
And not that like an able-bodied person wouldn't be welcome, but this gym caters to everyone, but specifically this group of this pool of people. And that would be amazing because I don't really know any gyms around my area that do that. And and I've searched. There is places that offer some services as we spoke about, but nothing specifically. And as you say, strength and conditioning, which is it's very important.
There is one place that is specifically for disabled people. And you might have heard of them in Leicester. There is a Hampton Foundation.
Yes. I follow them on Instagram.
I talk to James a lot, and he's helping me with a lot of things.
Because he suffers with dystonia, doesn't he?
Yes.
That's it. He's got very tight speech is affected.
Yeah, and his work is phenomenal. And like I was driven for it beforehand, but then obviously I've seen all the work he's doing, and like now what you're doing has just got me really, really eager to.
Really pumped, yeah. I mean, with James, I follow him as well, and I see some of his stuff, and it just goes to show that like there's no. The only barrier is yourself, is your mindset, and if you believe you can do something, because I know he has issues with like communication with speech, obviously tightness within his hands, but he doesn't let get him back, and he's found a way to adapt and approach his clients that works for him, and it works, and he's done very well. He's become very successful, and to watch someone like himself do it, it takes out them excuses that I know I've made in the past as to why I haven't done something. I'm like, you know what, this guy can do it, I can do it as well, and I'm sure you probably feel the same.
That's it. I mean, it's like, I've always like been proactive with what I do with things, so I'm just really determined to sort of make a difference, and even if I don't make a difference for myself, but for just one person, then I've done what I've trained to do all this time. So
It's a great goal to have. That's always been my goal. I sound a little bit cheesy when I say this to people. I say, like, I don't care about making loads of money or being successful. If I can get to the end of my life and know that I've had an impact on some people and changed some people's life for the better, I'm happy. I'm pumped.
that's it. And that's something I want. I've always said for years, I don't want to work for someone. So this is a perfect sort of job for me because it's what I love doing, and I only know I'm going to love it more if I'm helping people doing what I do.
Absolutely. So what would you say? So what's something important in life that you've learned, and what was life like before learning it? That would be my next question.
That was a really hard thing.
Because I shot that one over to you and I didn't know if you struggled with that one. Because it's a tough one. These questions are tough.
Yeah, I think through my life, I've always been a winner. Sounds really big-headed, but I've always been someone that's been high with life. And that sort of was where I was going with my answer. Growing up, nothing was wrong. Obviously, I had surgery, I had knockbacks, but they were never really something to knock me back. And then once I started growing up, there was more than just a physical challenge. There was emotional challenges, setbacks in sports, life. I wasn't used to losing. So that I learned that nothing is concrete. So what I mean by that is, if you're winning, it's not going to last forever. So you have to keep pushing. And same with if you're at the lowest point, that doesn't mean it's going to be there forever. And that sort of, I was struggling with that at first. When things went wrong, it went really wrong. And I think because I was so used to nothing going wrong, I took it wrong and I took it really bad. So I stopped training, started doing things I never thought I'd do, like drinking and stuff like that. I really let myself go. But then I remembered who I was, what I'd done, and then I started going again, started pushing, started winning. And that's where I learned nothing is concrete. And after that, I kind of don't let myself get to that point where I give up. If I feel like I'm having a bad day, I go to the gym or I do my routine, like shower, clean myself up, chill out, junk food, watch a film, and just self-care, look after myself. And then the next day, I pick myself up. And that's because I know for a fact tomorrow is a new day. And today is just a bad day and it's not concrete. And tomorrow it'll be fine. And that's given me a better outlook in life.
That's a very good attitude, because you always, from my experience with some clients, especially in regards to nutrition, it would be the case of I've had a bad day today, my diet's messed up, that's it, I'm just going to go off the rails again. What's the point? Whereas you've just had one bad day. And as you just rightly said, tomorrow is a completely new day. Let's start again. Let's see if we can do this. There's going to be more bad days. There's always going to be something thrown in your path, but we can't control what happens in life. All we can control is how we react to them situations.
And that's it. And without them bad days, you'll never appreciate the good days. And that's kind of what happened, because when I was younger, I was always winning. I become cocky and thought I was untouchable. And I was very wrong. Very, very wrong. But now it's appreciative. I've got a family, got a roof over my head. I can drive. I'm chasing my dream. My life isn't bad. I'm just having a bad day.
Yeah. Completely
And
agree,
that's what I've
man.
learned.
I completely agree. It's very, very true. So, Josh, tell me what inspires you. What inspires you?
Again, I'm going to sound really cocky.
Go for it.
But I inspire myself simply because the amount of challenges. Sorry, to go off.
No, you're fine. You're back on. Screen just went blank for a second.
The amount of challenges I've faced in my life would crumble people, physical and emotional. And I've never give up. I've been close to it, but I've never give up. I've always pushed on. And that, to me, is my biggest inspiration. But like many people inspire me. My grandma was poorly, very poorly. She had COPD.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you can imagine, she was bedbound a lot of time. And she never gave up. She was up, she was happy. She fought till the end. And that that inspires me to like sort of follow her footsteps.
Mm.
You know, she could never breathe, but she was still getting out of bed and cooking food or going to the shop, even if she couldn't cope with herself being that tired and out of breath. She carried on. And that inspires me. My mum, my dad, my sisters, more my mum, because obviously my biological dad left her to deal with me on my own at a very young age. And she cracked on. She gave me everything I needed. She looked after me. She gave up her life for me. And that inspires me, because not many kids or young adults would do that for someone, you know. So
she
that's sort
dedicated her
of,
life to yourself.
yeah.
So it
And
was
like
almost
that,
quite important for yourself not to
give up.
waste that opportunity your mother's
Yeah.
given you.
And like that's why I'm doing what I do, because I want to give her back what she gives me. And then finally, like my partner and 2 kids, I want to make them proud, and they inspire me to give them the life, you know, better life, and give them everything, so like we can be happy. Not that we're not happy, but stable and do things that we want to do, as a family or as a partner relationship. And it all boils down to family, really. A lot of my inspiration comes from family and myself, because without them, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Exactly, man. Exactly. I completely agree. And obviously, hopefully, you give your children the same mindset as your mother has given you, and your grandmother's given you as well. And I think that's all we can hope for in life, is that we inspire others as they have inspired us.
And that's it. Like I know if I've given my children a strong mindset to never give up and do what's right by them, then I know I've done right by life.
It's amazing, man. Honestly, inspirational. Josh, I think you've pretty much been an awesome first guest. to be honest, man. You've come on, you're inspirational, you're motivated, you know, you've got you've got all the things that I'm looking at doing in life, and my goals and my aspirations of helping others, and I can hear that in yourself. And it's just I say I'm a few years ahead of you in the game, but you know, you've not let anything get you down. You've not let your disability get you down. And yeah, it's awesome to have spoken to you today, mate.
Cheers for having me. Honestly,
cool.
like,
I was
quite nervous at first because I've never done it before, but it was easy.
It's a conversation, man, and that's what I want to keep. This is a conversation, super casual, and we're just talking about experiences. We're talking about your point of view on life, my point of view on life, and, you know, and ultimately trying to help other people. Josh, you've been amazing. I'm going to end the podcast there. That was awesome work, and yeah, I'm excited to see your progression. And obviously, you said you want to inspire other people. So if you want to tell everyone your Instagram handle so people can follow you if they want to see your progression.
It's Josh Williams _15.
Cool. I'll put the link in the bio anyway. So if anyone wants to check out some of Josh's stuff, please do. Please head on over to his Instagram page and check out what he's doing, and follow him on his journey. Guys, peace out and have a great day.